Hello everyone, welcome to another session on the Indian Constitution, and in this session we are going to discuss about the Vice President of India. Let us try to understand more about the Vice President of India, because the Vice President is also a constitutional post which is actually mentioned in the in the various provisions or various articles of our Indian Constitution. So this is an overview about the Vice President of India and the various articles dealing with the Vice President of India. So Article 63 of the Constitution says that there shall be a Vice President of India. So Vice President of India is actually mentioned in the Article 63 of the Constitution. The Vice President to be the ex officio chairman of the Council of States as per Article 64. So Article 64 deals with the Vice President to be the ex officio chairman of the Council of States. So Council of States means Rajya Sabha. Yes. Rajya Sabha means the Council of States. Article 65 talks about the Vice President to act as President or to discharge his functions during the casual vacancies in the office or during his absence of the President. So when the President's office is vacant at that particular time period, the Vice President has to act as the President, and that provision is mentioned in Article 65. Article 66 of the Constitution talks about the election of the Vice President. Election of the Vice President is also very clearly mentioned in our Constitution as per Article 66. Article 67 of the Constitution talks about the term of office of the Vice President. Article 68 discusses about the time of holding election to fill vacancy in the office of the Vice President and the term of office of a person elected to fill the casual vacancy. So it's regarding the time needed for the re-election of the Vice President. So when there is a vacancy arises in the Vice President's office, what is the time period for the election of the Vice President? Then Article 69 of the Constitution talks about the oath and affirmation by the Vice President. When a person is elected as the Vice President, he has to take an oath or an affirmation. That is actually discussed in Article 69. Article 70 of the Constitution talks about the discharge of President's functions in other contingencies. So when there is a contingency at that particular time period, also the Vice President should actually take the functions or do the functions of the discharge the functions of the President. That is actually mentioned in Article 70, and Article 71 talks about matters relating to or connected with the election of the President or the Vice President. So the entire election of the President and Vice President, if there is a problem associated with it, all those matters related with that election will be discussed in Article 71 of the Constitution. Vice President is considered to be the second highest office in the country. So after the President, it is the Vice President's office. So it is considered as the second highest office in the country, accorded next rank to the President in the official warrant of President. So if you take the official warrant of President, the first comes the President and the second comes the Vice President. Article 63 of the Indian Constitution mentioned the post of the Vice President. We already discussed about that. The post of Vice President of India is modeled on the lines of American Vice President. So if you look at from where we have adopted this particular feature in our Constitution, you can actually see that it was actually modeled as per the American Vice President, but there are a lot of differences in connection with the American President and the Indian Vice President, because both the situation is different, both the polity is different, both the circumstances are different, because both countries have its own history, its own different way of living, its own different democratic history and all those aspects. So both has its own differences. So it's just an introduction about the Vice President of India and an overview about the important articles that mentions about the Vice President of our country.